All right, Daniel the Adjuster here, and thank you so much for joining me. It's a brand new year, 2025, and boy, we have started out this year with an amazing event already. Not in a good sense, but the California wildfires are totally crazy. This being said, there is lots of damage, terrible destruction, the fires are out of control, and we as adjusters are going to be there to help. I wanted to talk today a little bit about being an adjuster in a crazy mess of a fire of this magnitude. So let's take a look at a few of the photos of the fires that have gone on. We see here in this one, helicopters dropping water down to assist. We see just the fact that roads are completely blocked, fires completely inundating the roads, travel very difficult for the average person to get down. I know obviously we would not be going there in the storm at this time, meaning at the event of the fire. We would not be right there during this event, but debris will be left on the roads, making it very difficult to travel to those locations. Here's an airplane photo that was sent in regarding the magnitude of the storm, of how many houses will be affected. Currently, right now, we're looking at 15,000, I think 12 to 15,000 houses that have been damaged at this point. That's an enormous amount of damage, and I'm sure just the beginning. We've also had 10 deaths in this terrible situation, and that's likely to grow as well. One of the things that we will run into difficulties with when investigating these homes is the sheer magnitude of the damages to California homes. These are monstrosity homes. These are $50 million structures that have tons of overhangs and balconies and palisade areas, gazebos, external structures, overhangs. And this is not just the exterior structure. There are other structures that have been burnt that are now missing. And so estimating this type of damage would be extraordinarily hard. Getting to these locations would also be very difficult. Something like this is probably going to burn all the way to the ground, except for maybe the brick end on this house, maybe standing still. But ultimately, when it gets to it, this fire is just too out of control for police and fire to get to. The heat would be so intense. The ability to put something out like this would be very difficult, a total destruction by the time they would ever get to it. These are some of the photos that have been on the news regarding the total destruction of the area. This is the Palisades area, probably not saying that right, but it's a terrible, devastated area with complete destruction on roads and homes. So as you see, the roads are flooded with the water that was used to try to put out the fire. But this water also could be part of the reason why they ran out of water, is that many of these pipes would be plastic or potentially copper. And with this type of heat, then every house would be rupturing the water lines that were coming to the home with this fire. Well, you know, obviously, if you have 10 sprinklers attached to a hose and you turn on the hose, your water pressure is extremely low. They're going to have the same situation here where water to be able to get out of a hose to potentially prevent these houses from, burning down or anything. There was no availability for people to take care of this or even to assist in trying to prevent this fire. The problem that they had with the fire hydrants is that they have storage tanks that hold the water for these areas, and these are up in the mountains, $1 million water tanks, and they were depleted very quickly with the amount of fire that was here and the amount of people drawing from that water. They just ran out of water very, very quickly and weren't able to put out the fires. So again, there's a picture of the debris that is going to be left on the road. So as an adjuster, we're going to be coming up to tree debris. We're going to be coming up to structures that have fallen across the roads, making it very difficult for us to get to where we need to in order to inspect these houses. Not to mention is some of the houses, this is what you'll be left with. You'll be left with just a pile of debris, have no idea what was in the house, except for a few standing walls, potentially, foundation wall on the exterior, porches, stairways, stuff like that that you might be able to see, but you're not going to know what's in that house. And part of the inspection process for an adjuster is different for different insurance companies, but we may be just measuring the outside foundation and trying to gather information about that through Google Views or Google Maps. We will be measuring the foundations. Other carriers will be having us talk to the owners and actually try to recreate a sketch of the house. So we'll be talking to them and saying, okay, do you remember what was at the front of the house here? Was that a kitchen? Was that a living room? You know, do you approximately know how big this room was? How many bathrooms were in this house? How many bedrooms? Was there upstairs? Was there a garage? How big was it? You know, these will be questions that we'll be asking them, and we will be required to try our best to sketch this house. We'll be getting a roof view from Eagle View or something like that, where we can get the actual size of the roof, the pitches. We'll get all that, but we will have to reconstruct the inside of the home, potentially by using foundation walls, piers that are underneath the house if it was a foundation or a crawl space. Maybe we'll even see the markings of, if it was a slab, we'll be able to see the markings of where the existing walls used to be. We're going to have to sketch that house as best as possible. Then we'll be using the Magic Wizard estimating tools that are on Xactimate to estimate for entire walls and replacing those, entire roof systems, foundation walls, everything. We'll be trying to gather and build an estimate because of that, using that tool. So just keep that in mind. So again, some pictures of the devastation, total burn across so many areas. Again, very difficult to estimate what this house was there before. We're thankful for Google View and Google Maps to be able to look at this and be able to get an idea of what was there before. Because in order to do an ITV, which is insurance to value assessment using the Xactimate tool, we're going to have to know the textures on the house. Was it a stucco house? Was it a brick house, stone house? What kind of roof? Was it terracotta roofing, or was it a shingle? And again, we probably won't know if it's a 30, 40, or 50-year shingle if they're all burnt up. So there's a lot of things there that are going to be really difficult to estimate. We are going to be trying to write an estimate for the total value, if possible, so that we can get the person as much money as they can right to the max of their policy so they can get reimbursed. But it is a very difficult task. Again, potentially even death, be finding bodies that were undiscovered before. It's not unheard of to be found in a fire scenario while you're out there investigating to do this estimate. You could run across some pets. It's just a sad, sad situation to come across. Again, total devastation of some subdivisions. Everyone is in the same situation. It is a terrible, terrible situation. Entire subdivisions have been wiped out. These are multi-million-dollar homes. So estimating is going to be difficult and time-consuming. To write an entire estimate to rebuild a house would take probably 6 hours, if not more, 6 to 8 hours to write this estimate. We could probably only do one per day, depending on how long it takes us to get to these locations. Now, if we're doing an ITV, we could probably do 2 or 3 of those a day. Again, the fee schedule is going to be dependent upon how that carrier is paying for that amount of work that's involved with doing those estimates. Now, I'm so thankful for adjusters because we have desk adjusters and field adjusters that will be helping the process of this claim. And I am thankful for what I do as an adjuster so that I can be there for the people in need in this situation. It's a terrible situation. So somebody's going to be at the phone answering your call as they come in. These are desk adjusters, somebody who is going to take all the information from the insured and put it together in a report, confirm the address. Speaking of address, it's going to be hard for us to confirm the address because more than likely the numbers were located on the house. They're probably burned or buried under debris. Mailboxes will be gone as well, so that's going to be difficult for us to locate it. But Google Earth or Google Maps will certainly get us in the right proximity, and now we have to look at the foundation style in order to be able to confirm the location. You'll be coming up to a home like this, totally destroyed, trying to figure out what in the world was in this house to begin with. As an adjuster, this is going to be important for us to do the best we can to document the loss, not to mention wearing your hard hat if you have one. Things can be falling all the time. As an independent adjuster, we are going to be helping out many different carriers, not just one carrier, but we could be getting assignments from all over. As a California adjuster, in order to work California claims, you have to be living there for 2 years. So more than likely, you'll be working under your firm's license and being represented by them. You have to remember, going to California is going to be much more expensive. Just like with 10 to 15,000 homes damaged, there are now 10 to 15,000 families displaced, not to mention the amount of evacuations that have occurred. So we're talking hundreds of thousands of people that have been told to evacuate their home for safety. Well, now they need a place to stay. And so they could be moving out of the area to friends and family, but they also may be needing hotels. So as an adjuster, you're coming in to a potential difficult situation of where you are going to live. That whole local area probably doesn't have any hotels available. So you could be 2-3 hours out of that area before you could find a hotel. That's going to make it very difficult for these inspections. Your purpose as an adjuster is to document the loss. Yes, there will be lots of contents damaged, but we may not be able to handle those contents. They may be just writing policy limits on those. So the photos, though, are important. So if somebody is claiming a barbecue got damaged on the back porch, and you don't see a barbecue, that's going to be an indication that there may be some fraud involved with that. And that's not to say that every person is going to be doing that. It may be buried in debris. But our job is also to keep everyone honest and to make sure we're documenting the loss correctly too. A picture is worth 1,000 words, as they say, and so taking lots of photos can certainly help document this loss. Well, my heart goes out to the people in California. Currently, at this point, looks like $52 to $57 billion in damages is now recorded, with 10 deaths currently, expecting that to be much higher. Unfortunately, in this world of fires, there sometimes are bad people. We have looting that's going on. We also had a current arrest for a person in their 30s that was setting fires. Not sure if the mentality of this person or the stability of this person, but they were a homeless person that was caught starting fires. Don't understand that. There's rumors of lots of those things going on. Now, the cause of the fire seems to be related to just the fact that California is very susceptible to fires because of the dry weather, the low humidity, and wind. And apparently this was a super wind event, had winds up to 75 to 100 miles an hour that were just fueling the fire. There was no possibility of putting out fires when you have that kind of wind going on. I've heard stories of the fact that winds normally are gusty during the day, and they flipped and were now gusty at nighttime. So that creates a huge problem with all the sparks flying through the air and starting new fires because of the wind. So a terrible situation in that regards. Now, I know the locals have also talked about the water supply. I know everybody was talking about going to fire hydrants and there was no water. California has always had problems with water. They've been piping it in from other areas ever since it's ever been known. And I think the supply was just low, the demand was super high, and it just ran into great difficulties trying to provide this type of water for this event. We just shout out to all the firefighters that have been sacrificing their time. I know they're tired. I know they've been endlessly trying to tackle this event. The planes, the overall effort has been amazing, and we just give praise to them. As adjusters, make sure you check with your local firms to see if they are deploying. This would be a very difficult event to go to, not to mention the travel time. A lot of people don't live in California, so there'll be a big travel problem that has to go there, whether flights are coming into the area or not. That's a big issue. I personally am not going to this event just because of logistics. It would be very, very difficult for me as a catastrophe adjuster to be able to come into this situation. But if I lived local, I certainly would be there absolutely to help out as much as I could. So Daniel, the adjuster here, I'm just here to help you guys understand this scenario of the fire. If you have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments. Check out my other videos. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.